Hello, this story I'm about to read to you all was planned for a late 2025 video. Since I didn't make the video, I decided to just read the story to all of you right now. I hope you guys don't mind that, and I really hope you enjoy this narration. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you remember watching Looney Tunes as a kid. So do I. And my favorite character was Sylvester the cat. Until one night back in the summer of 1998, I saw an episode that frightened me. But since the cartoon played late at night, when I should have already gone to bed, I was half asleep, so I only remembered parts of it. Like, a creepy TV in Sylvester's room that suddenly turned on by itself. I thought, maybe it was just a nightmare. Well, unfortunately it wasn't. So 1 year ago, the following summer, my brother and I were bored in the afternoon, so we decided to watch some TV. We flicked to Cartoon Network, just in time when Looney Tunes was starting. It played 2 normal episodes featuring Sylvester. Nothing special, except for one thing. When the second part was coming to its end, me and my brother felt like something wasn't quite right. We thought that it might show that certain episode once again, and then it happened. This episode didn't have the usual opening, which many of the Looney Tunes segments had. Not even the catchy music. It just skipped straight to the title screen. No fade or anything. It just switched right there. There was no title written on the screen. Instead, it showed a living room of a house. The layouts were drawn entirely with 2 colors. Drawn entirely with 2 colors. Blood, red, and black as emptiness. There wasn't any music here either. The only sound that could be heard during this part was a woman saying directed by. The creepy thing about it was that the audio used our country's native language, Hungarian, and this happened way before Cartoon Network started broadcasting cartoons recorded in Hungary. Also, it sounded like the announcer was slowly being strangled. Once more, the cartoon never faded to the beginning. It simply switched right there. It showed Sylvester standing in front of something that looked like a military base from the Second World War. There wasn't even any music or sound here either. Just dead silence. Sylvester also didn't look like how he did in the other cartoons. He looked bruised and badly beaten. His eyes had no pupils. Sylvester didn't say anything, he just looked really angry. In the next scene, he entered the military base. It was empty. No guards or soldiers were present, but Sylvester just still entered. He wanted to get revenge on whoever who was inside for what they did to him. So he decided to sabotage the facility by destroying all of the lights hanging from the ceiling. Sorry if I'm stuttering a lot this episode. I don't know about this episode. I'm sorry. This scene looks very disturbing. While Sylvester was tearing down each right fixture, his claws grew to a ridiculous size. With every swipe, blood and oil trickled down his hands. The only audio that could be heard in this scene was the sound of sparkling electricity, which sounded loud and frighteningly realistic. The scenes also started flashing rapidly, making it appear even more unnerving and dangerous to people who suffer from seizures. Pardon me. The entire sequence repeated itself 10 times before it cut to the next scene. In the next scene, Sylvester was now home, but Granny, Tweety, and Hector were nowhere to be found. He was all alone. His room appeared empty and surreal. The floor was blood red, and the walls looked like they were on fire. The room contained 2 tables, a large one with a toy Dalek and a screwdriver on it, along with a smaller one that included a TV set facing directly at the viewer. There was also a window in the background, but the beams were misaligned, so it resembled an inverted crucifix. Outside it was pitch black, but it's like there was no existence beyond that window. Sylvester proceeded to fix the toy Dalek with the screwdriver when the TV suddenly turned on by itself. The TV showed an extremely disturbing cartoon. The background music sounded like someone was repeatedly banging keys on an organ. Also, the score was in reverse and played back with a slower pitch. It started by showing a forest with a cartoony moon above it, with a creepy look on its face. A few seconds later, it switched to a narrow room. The narrow room itself appeared empty, but something could be heard working on the other end. Whatever was made a metallic thumping sound with each step. 5 seconds later, it switched to the other end of the room. Porky Pig was standing there, also looking angry, and he was holding a pistol in his hand. However, he didn't appear bruised like Sylvester did. He said something to the monster at the other end of the room, then fired his gun a few times. After that, it cut to static, and a loud bang was heard. The screen faded to black. A few seconds later, the screen faded back to Sylvester in his room, standing next to the wreckage of his TV. He looked even more angry, even more bruised, and its eyes were a dark red this time. This disturbing image, I still think about this to this day. The disturbing image of angry Sylvester stayed on the screen for about 10 seconds, then it went to black. About a half minute later, Cartoon Network came back on, with a normal coming up next bumper.